Well, I can tell you have a smile over the results from last year, since Europe is your home, and the Europeans really were the story. The Americans were kind of left behind.
Yeah, it was an amazing day. One of the most amazing days I've ever enjoyed on a racetrack. It's asking a great deal.
We had a name for it.
Well,
an ass kicking.
Well, after a fashion, but it's asking a great deal. But the facts are simple, Todd. We've got representatives, strong representatives in 13 races. We have potentially 7 or 8 favourites. So if we go home with less than 3 or 4 winners, it will be anticlimactic.
And I think Midday could be one of those in this filly and mare turf division. I worked for her trainer, Henry Cecil, and he only brings horses stateside when he thinks they've got a chance. And off this victory, or this decent effort, I should say, 3rd place finish in the Prix de l'Opera, what do you make of her chances in the filly and mare turf?
She has a solid chance. I like virtually everything about this filly apart from one niggling worry. Let's deal with this race first. High quality fillies race. She's there in the familiar Juddmonte colours, Prince Khalid's colours, green, pink. On the outside, you can see this told us 2 things: that she still is in great form, but she's vulnerable to a horse with a real finishing kick. And I think we have that type of filly in this race.
Just to emphasize to our audience out there, the advantage of having Graham here, yes, we get to see these races on TVG. However, Graham was actually there and watched her in person, so pay very close attention to his observations about all the horses we'll be talking about. And there's something going on, a storyline, at least in the racing media overseas, about Midday's trainer. Almost everybody's rooting for Henry Cecil to have some success at the Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Yeah, the classic we captured last year with John Gosden and Ravens Pass. If Henry Cecil could capture this race, or the classic with Twice Over, that would be a tremendous story. One of the legendary trainers of Europe, a guy who's been there, seen it, done it at every level, and as you said, a tremendous touch with fillies. If he could, it would raise the roof in Europe if he could win this race. I think she has a great deal going for her, but I just have that slight reservation about that zip in the final furlong.
Henry's been dealing with a lot of personal health issues, and that victory with Twice Over in the Champion Stakes in England for the prep for the Classic brought tears to many at the crowd that day, including Henry himself, Todd.
And he brought a horse over to the American Oaks. It was his wife, Jane, who came over and represented him. So, yeah, it's not only that side of the ocean that people are cheering for Henry Cecil. A lot of American racing fans want to see him do well on these 2 championship days. Earlier in the week, Graham, we were telling our audience out there about time form. Some of us are very familiar with it. Some of us are not. Explain time form a little bit to the American handicappers.
Yeah, it's simple and complicated as well. Simply put, it's the marquee racing analysis service, independent analysis service in European racing. It has been for 40, 50 years. And the idea is very simple. It's to express a horse's merit by way of a time form rating and one punchy, concise paragraph to tell you that horse's optimum conditions and run style. That's it in a nutshell.
And as the time form is a number. It's right. A number. The higher the number, the better the horse, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. You would say the benchmark for a Group 1 horse is 120 or low 120s. A real crackerjack horse to see the stars, or a Rachel, is way up into the high 130s.
And we can see at the top of the list here for the Emirates Airline Filly and Mare Turf is that 140 rating for Dar Re Mi, and talk about where Dar Re Mi would end up, either the Filly and Mare Turf or the Turf. Let's turn now to the Emirates Airline Turf and the pre-entries as they stand.
Well, I can tell you, the Europeans in the history of the Breeders' Cup have won 38 Breeders' Cup races. 30 of those have been on the turf, Graham. 15 of those 30 in this division, in the Breeders' Cup Turf. Can they make it 16 this year?
It will be hugely disappointing if they don't. Don't forget that the top American turf horse, Gio Ponte, is headed for the Classic. So we have a formidable team here. We've got last year's winner Conduit. We have Dar Re Mi, a high-quality filly. And we also have Red Rocks, I forgot about him, and Spanish Moon, who is in theory the 2nd string of Sir Michael Stoute, but in practice it may not be quite so straightforward.
You're still claiming Red Rocks. We'll let you claim Conduit, though, and Conduit was getting off the van. How has he done this year compared to last year?
He's at least as good. He's at least as good, but he may need a certain set of conditions, i.e. a searching, not a breakneck gallop, but a very strong gallop from the off. But he's as good as ever this year. He's trained by a guy, Sir Michael Stoute, who is a master with older horses. So we know he can do it here, but we all know that he got a severe searching gallop last season, and he may well get it again thanks to Precious Passion.
Yeah, I mean, this was his victory last year, and some would argue that it's kind of what you alluded to, Graham. The pace was breakneck here with the Coolmore pace setter, and it kind of set up for him. Does he need that kind of pace? He's going to need someone to go out there and duel Precious Passion, who appears to be the lone pace setter in this race.
Yeah, I think so. Spanish Moon, his stablemate, won't be too far away, but Conduit, as you can see, when he hits the front, he's a killer. He doesn't give it up once he hits the front. front.
So he wins the Breeders' Cup by 2 lengths, and he's at least as good this year?
I think he is at least as he won the King George. He
Oh
beat
my.
2 stablemates. He's certainly not gone backwards. He showed that in the Arc last time. That wasn't run to suit him perfectly. This race, if Precious Passion goes really hard, he'll be tough.
What about the filly Da Re Mi?
She's high quality, but she was a length behind Conduit in the Arc, and I think she's likely to run a super race and come up just shy.
Let's answer the question. We're looking at her Prix Vermeil effort here, where she won over Stellacita and Plumania. This was a prep for the Arc in which she would go on to finish 5th, a decent 5th. Why are they running here as opposed to the filly and mare turf?
I think she's good enough, and I think they think the mile and a half is a better trip than the mile and a quarter. This, one of the most baffling stewarding decisions we've ever seen. She won the
She got
race.
taken down.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
So that happens over there too, huh?
Exactly, and her owner, by the way, is Lord Lloyd Webber, Andrew Lloyd Webber, famous composer of Cats and musicals and the like. Personal note with him, he is also undergoing some serious health issues as well, so we wish him the best, and hopefully Da Re Mi can get in the winner's circle.
Spanish Moon out of the Prix Foy.
Yeah, lots of pluses. Another typical slow-maturing, slow-burning stout horse, but he's getting better. He's had a light campaign. This the Prix Foy, a trial for the Arc de Triomphe. He won it in a small field, steady gallop. He beat a high-quality horse, Vision d'Etat, but the plus point here, he didn't go to the Arc de Triomphe. Therefore, we don't have to worry about whether a hard race in that contest has left a bruise on him. So he's going to come here cherry ripe. The other big plus, and a little bit of byplay between the stable. Ryan Moore rode Conduit last year. He's back aboard Conduit, but Kieran Fallon back. He's missed the last 2 Breeders' Cups thanks to suspension. He's back rejuvenated and hungry, very hungry. I think he thinks that he's got the right horse to ride here in Spanish Moon.
You can see his track record there, 6 vs 12. I think you brought up the key point, sidestepping the Arc. Historically, I don't think horses that run hard in the Arc have come back and run well in the Breeders' Cup turf.
Winners at the Arc have an abysmal record.
Okay, Graham, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like when you were talking about Precious Passion, one of America's best hopes, you're looking at him as just a horse to catch for all the European contingent. You don't really respect the blinding speed of Precious Passion?
No, I do respect him hugely, but I think he plays not into the hands of the Europeans, but he gives the likes of Conduit and Spanish Moon, for that matter, a real chance of getting the pace. Stamina is obviously the strong suit of the European 2 turf horses, and the harder Precious Passion goes, the better Sir Michael Stout, Ryan Moore, Kieran Fallon will like it.
Time form doesn't give us a chance, by the way, Todd. He's 9 points behind Conduit.
That 9 points difference, I mean, put that in terms of lengths. Can you do that?
You're talking six
really?
lengths. Yes.
I'm ready to go home and start sucking my thumb.
Yeah,
We're done.
Should we
got no
watch
shot.
this work? Should we show Precious Passion's work? We're going to do it anyway. This is October 25th over the Pro Ride. Going a mile, Fernando Espinosa is aboard.
Yeah, let's take a look. So we're going to make one complete circuit of the Pro Ride here, and I'm not sure what the reason is behind working a mile here, but hey, I'm not training Mary Hartman. She's been doing it time and time again with tremendous success. But I mean, this is going to take quite a while till we get around the stretch here, and you can see the rider has already got the whip out. Maybe he's a lazy workhorse ready to tap him down the shoulder, but guys, I wasn't impressed, as you'll see down the lane, the way this horse finished up.
Well, I mean, you're looking at this work by Precious Passion. You know, I think the thing to keep in mind here, he's a pro. He's run 41 times. This is the kind of work she puts into him every time, and when you look at the times of these works, you got to believe that they look a lot like this every time, Frank.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I was blown away, really, to see him wear the blinkers and everything, because his races just suggested he just runs off early on. I remember watching him in the Arlington Million, and he went out by 10 lengths, and he got beat 10 lengths. But then next time out at Santa Anita, he really seemed to enjoy the surface there and the Clement Hirsch, where he went gate to wire, beating Medici Code and Springhouse. That is probably a tad below what it is a tad below what he's going to meet come Saturday. And I just see him as, well, he probably has the best chance of the Americans, but probably best place finish I would expect would be a place.
Would you guys agree with me? I think the reason why the trainer works this horse on the main track is that I think if she puts him on the turf with the blinkers, etc., I mean, he is going to work like he runs, maybe draw off of opening half in 46, 47.
You'd have to hope so, because he works like this. If he runs like this come Saturday, he'll be last.
Precious Passion, a mile over the Pro Ride back on October 25th. The mile completed in 1:39.4. Graham Cunningham continues with us, and we're going to have you all week, and we want you to come back already. I'm getting excited about the insight you're giving us here. But want to ask you about Rainbow View, because this horse was kind of a split amongst opinion. When we watched Rainbow View preparing for the Ladies Classic, it was kind of half and half as far as who liked her work, who didn't. What can you tell us about her form as it relates to what she's going to try and do, run on the synthetic surface here?